Oh, I ain't got a clue, mate. But I'll tell you what, though. QT Marshall has got his own little faction going on. With this, like, bronze medal boxer and this massive geezer that looks like a bear.
Not Bear Country.
And then, obviously, MJF's got his own faction as well, the Pinnacle.
Yeah. I don't like the name,
which is
but
really
I like
good. And, right, this Dynamite just gone, the Inner Circle came back and destroyed them in their locker room, which was really good.
So, with the Pinnacle basically being what we was kind of waiting to be like the Four Horsemen, because that's kind of what the group is, isn't it?
Yeah, Sean Spears, FTR, MJF and Wardlow.
So,
and then Tully Blanchard. Yeah.
The question is about factions and stables.
There's a lot of factions in AEW. There's a lot.
This is the big thing at the moment with AEW, because
like, just straight off the bat, I could probably name over 5.
Yeah, the criticism is kind of like, are we at a point now where there's too many?
I don't think so.
My question
just because you're in a faction doesn't mean that you can't do other things as well, though.
Yeah, but the question is more. So obviously it's a Japanese thing with the stables. So it feels like they're taken away from New Japan with the idea of stables. But are they being utilised in a way that, like you said there, if you can go off and just do your own things, are they actually being utilised like that, or are we just having factions for the sake of having factions at this point?
I think it depends on the faction. Half, I'd say, is there for the sake, and then half is being used. Like, let's just say, like the Nightmare family, which is now actually called the Nightmare Factory for some reason.
It's an actual training centre, isn't it, they've got?
Oh, is that what it is? Well, I honestly think that's just there for the sake of it. They never do anything. They're just there. At the minute, with the Dark Order's the same, but fair play to them, they can't really, do a lot at the minute, because obviously with Brody going, I suppose that's put a spanner in the works for whatever was going to happen. But then you've got like Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, which are like feuding, so they're there for a reason. But yeah, this new QT one, again, it's just like, and Team Taz as well. That just seems to be there for the sake of it. Like yeah, you're on Team Taz, but like you just do your own thing anyway. I just don't see. So like, yeah, I agree with you. And then it's sort of half. Like half are there for actually doing something, and the other half are just there like, well, I'm in this team now, so there you go.
If that's the case, though, does that mean that there are too many stables then? Because if it's only like 50% that feel like they actually mean anything on TV,
yeah, I guess.
Because Ash, I mean, like the Dark Order thing.
I'm sort of 50-50 with it. Like I'm sort of 50-50.
Yeah, I still like the Dark Order because I still think that they're really funny and they're entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
They do serve a purpose.
They definitely deserve to be there.
The Team Taz thing is the worst one for me because Team Taz feels like it's been stuck on repeat.
Yeah.
Like when I stopped watching they were doing the same things that they were doing like months before that, and it was just like it was a running after a Darby Allin match.
I 100% agree. Like
it's like
Team
it was
Taz,
just constantly the same thing, like
Team
over
Taz
and over.
Team Taz has become the boring thing in it.
But the thing about Team Taz is it sounds like Brian Cage is going to turn face.
Yes,
yeah,
and
that's
a good
like
thing
that
as well. But that's the counter argument I've got though. Like obviously people say there's too many factions, but things, although that obviously like it's 50-50, but the ones that are not doing anything, there are things happening like on the inside, like you just said, like Cage will probably be leaving that one soon, going solo, and then like I get why they put him in it because like to build his name up, and now he can go off and do his own thing. But you got to think like the Elite. There's no such thing as the Elite anymore. Like so that's completely gone because the Bucks are now allied with Moxley.
But they're still Good Brothers and Omega together, which kind of is Elite, but not Elite.
But it's not though, is it? Because they're using Bullet Club, don't they? So,
well,
but then for something like that though, like Brian Cage face turn, in the nicest ways possible, like what does it matter though? Because like if he's done absolutely next to fuck all in Team Taz for months, like what does a face turn really do? And then if he does leave the group to go solo. How much emphasis is really put on the solo guy?
I think if he goes, he'll join Sting and Darby Allin, and I don't think that's a bad thing either.
But then it's one faction into another, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but with Sting in his corner, though, he could shoot up. He really could shoot up.
I don't think he needs anyone. He's Brian Cage.
Yeah,
Look
that's
at
what
him.
I mean.
I know. That's what I mean there. But like, just imagine him with Sting. Like that's a winning combination, isn't it?
Moxley is kind of like one of the only guys that doesn't have anybody with him. And it works, but like everybody else has somebody.
I just want to like put on the record, he's by no means in a faction with the Bucks. It's just the fact that obviously the Bucks have turned on Omega and Gallows and Anderson, and obviously they helped Moxley not get a beating like the following week, and obviously they don't like Don Callis, and so like that they've got mutual. Yeah, the enemy of the enemy is my friend.
I'm sure it's building up to something, but I just like where it currently is. Other than Moxley, how many like actual mainstay TV stars can you name that aren't in some sort of tag team or faction? Because everybody's with somebody. Darby Allin's with Sting, Jungle Boy's with Luchasaurus, MJF's in a faction, Jericho's faction.
Yeah.
Like, everybody that is a mainstay guy is in some sort of faction or
a
team.
like... Do you know
the only person I can say at the minute is Christian, but give it a week and he'll probably have his own faction as well.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Honestly. Like, I think, honestly, that's one of the things that... Like I say, like, AEW seems like it's really good at the minute. Like, with
it is, mate. It is really good.
But that sort of stuff is like, if I tuned it in and just saw some of it now, I'm getting a bit turned off by it because I'm just like, well...
To me,
like, especially now, I've got to jump back in after like sort of 2 months of. I've been sort of like keeping up bits and bobs, like videos on like, you know, on Instagram and YouTube and whatever, but not watching a full show. If I have to watch a full show now, I'm just going to be confused as shit with like what the factions are, who's with who. Like, it's just constant. Like, sometimes I just feel like it's got a bit too big with the factions. You don't need as many because then none of them are really special anymore.
Nothing much has changed though, really. Like, apart from MJF's got his own faction.
It's a lot though. MJF's own faction should be a really big deal, but if it's going to get oversaturated with the others,
it is a big deal though. Like, I think
Sean Spears though. That's the problem.
Yeah, but they had to find something for him to do though, didn't they? I mean, let's face it, he's been kicking about doing nothing. I think him being in this though will make him better, 100%.
Do you dislike Sean Spears in the ring, or just like what's the deal then?
I don't dislike the guy. It's just he hasn't been given enough. I don't think he's like spectacular in the ring, and I think that might be why he hasn't been given enough. But I just think he hasn't been given. He wasn't given a fair shot in WWE. He hasn't really been given a shot yet in AEW. Like, he came in, he was a bit hot. He had that thing with Cody where he split his head open, and then nothing. And then he was kicking his heels for months.
Yeah, so I think this is not compelling, is it?
That's what I mean. I think this will definitely help him, but he just, I just don't think he's truly found himself. Like, I don't think he knows truly what he is, or his character is, or what he means, or anything.
Well, it's kind of that.
I don't think he knows yet.
Was it just the 10 that got him over? Because it wasn't his wrestling.
I literally think it was that. It was just that. And that's the thing. That's the problem, isn't it, really?
But then realistically, though, like, that's the main point of it, isn't it? Because like The Rock's wrestling ability is not like it's not bad, is it at all by any stretch? But it wasn't like Kurt Angle level.
Yeah.
But it's The Rock's personality. It was the character.
Yeah.
And it makes you excited. Really, I mean, you go and look at like maybe the WrestleMania 17 match between Rock and Austin. It's basically a whole match of back and forth punching. Like, around ringside and everything else. Like, there's not a lot in the way of actual wrestling moves, but the match was so exciting.
Though, because of the people that was in it.
Because you care. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because they're credible and you care.
Because of the charisma they both had as well. That's what I mean, yeah.
The stable thing, the only one more thing I wanted to add onto it, unless anyone else has got anything else, but I was going to say, because like you look at something like, cause this is when I feel like stables are done like properly, and you look at like, say, Evolution. And you'd have like a guy like Triple H with Ric Flair, two established guys, and that helped elevate Randy Orton, who no one gave a shit about before, and Batista, who people didn't really give a shit about before. Mm-hmm. And you look at them now; they're two of the biggest names in wrestling. But
that is a faction done right.
It is, but when you've got, if you had like 20 different factions. Is it then special enough for them to stand out? Because it's the norm throughout the whole company.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the problem. Like, no, but it's going to be harder for people to stand out in these groups because at the centerpiece of the group, which is like the other criticism, which is always like now AEW bringing in the older guys. Like, yeah, it should be done if they're going to elevate new people, but the focus is still on them. Like, Sting's the big name, the marquee name for that one. Taz not so much, but it's called Team Taz. Like, what more do you want? Jericho is Inner Circle. I mean, like, realistically, that's why Pinnacle should be one of the bigger ones, because it's like the only one with sort of like a new generation star kind of at the helm of it.
He's really good. I do love it.
The thing about Inner Circle, I thought they were going to make like Sammy Guevara like the top future star.
Leader.
It's gonna, it probably will do.
I think it will happen in time. Because he's got the talent and he's got the mic skill as well, Guevara. And he's so young as well. Like, he's definitely
really
the full
young,
package.
yeah.
The one thing about...
in 10 years' time, he's going to be like a huge star.